So, hello everybody, here we are back, and this is the final position after the fourth game turn of La Lorraine of 1914 Offensive à Outrance by GMT Games. So basically it's a stalemate and a draw. No side was able to gain its objectives, so basically the Second French Army abandoned their strategic plans because it was quite clear that they couldn't get Metz, that they couldn't, what else did they have? They wanted to conquer Metz, they wanted to conquer Saargemünde and Saarbrücken, and, you know, there was just no way. The Germans were too well deployed here along the front. The Germans, on the other hand, should have taken Toul and Épinal. So here we have Toul up here and Épinal down here. Now, I'm not sure how this is even possible, because in La Lorraine you're not allowed to change the attachments of corps, and you cannot change the operating areas of the different armies. So basically you would have had to take Épinal down here with essentially 6 units from here against this French army here. So that's, I don't know how this is even supposed to be possible, even from a distance, a geographical distance. I don't see that happening at all, especially since especially since it's the 6th Army, so they would have had to change their operation area, which they can't in this scenario. So I'm not quite sure what I'm missing here, how this could have happened, because the 6th Army, in my opinion, could never have gotten down here, because their operational area is up to the north. So I don't know, maybe this was just because maybe they didn't pay as much attention to this training scenario. Be that as it may, even Toul is way out of reach, because what the French did is they just basically amassed all of these troops up here and just kept the Germans out. Having said this, what people have noticed, what I've noticed as well, and I'm not saying that this is either good or bad, I'm just noticing and observing it here for your benefit, you will hardly ever see elimination of units. I'll draw your attention to this stack here. This stack was here. And it was completely isolated, so it couldn't trace any line of supply. So it was attacked, and it suffered one combat efficiency loss, and it needed to retreat. Now, the way it should retreat is it should always retreat towards its supply line. So this is the supply line over here. So it needs to do this as quickly as possible, and so but it must also make sure that it doesn't run into too many enemy hexes or enemy ZOCs, because otherwise it will start losing combat efficiency. So it starts retreating. 1, 2, 3, 4, lose 1, lose 2. So it retreats along this path and it loses 2 combat efficiency. So these stacks, these guys are still standing. You know, their combat efficiency, which they have to check against at the end of a combat or after a forced march, for example, is reduced, but they're still standing. If they were to attack, there would be no difference. They don't have any reduced strength at all. They're doing actually quite well. It's just that they're less efficient, which only comes in towards the end of a combat situation. So that is definitely something that takes a lot of getting used to. You can basically take quite a lot of hits, but you cannot really, it takes you a long time for them to be taken down. So, for example, if they were to take one more hit, they would become combat inefficient, which means that they cannot attack, they cannot place a PA marker. Okay, but even that took quite a long time to whittle them down to this level. So this kind of combat and this kind of game will take you a very long time to resolve from a fighting perspective. Unlike other games, for example, I don't know, maybe Seelöwe or Panzergruppe Guderian, where basically after, I don't know, 2 to 3 hits, you know, the units will start falling off the map like so many pawns in a chess game. Here it's really, it takes steady punching away at them. On the other hand, it's very difficult to actually regain combat effectiveness. In those 4 turns, I've not been able to regain it even once, because you have to fulfill certain criteria. And one is you must not be too close to an enemy unit, which actually never worked out. This was quite an interesting training scenario. My next step will be to play the Race Towards the Sea, which takes the two northernmost maps, and I'm really looking forward to playing that one. I have to say, I find this game really engaging and really interesting. I've come to terms with the rules. I believe that the whole thing about isolation is a little badly explained, so I'm just going to make up my own mind as to when or when not they will be in and out of supply. Because this whole thing about isolation, I don't know, I think the explanation is very badly written. This is something that I would like to say about the rules. The rules are only so-so. There are areas where I would have wished for more explanation, where I would have expected an example as well, and sometimes the examples that are there aren't too well chosen. But that shouldn't deter anybody. I can really recommend this game. I think it's really interesting. You need a lot of patience, I believe. So if you're somebody who wants to just basically blaze through enemy units and just flatten everything before you, this game is probably not for you at all. But for somebody who really is willing to invest time, I can really recommend this game. So I'm now going to upload this. With regard to the Race to the Sea, I will not do as many videos as I did for this fairly short scenario, which only lasted 4 game turns. But I may look into documenting some of it. I may take a couple of pictures and maybe write up an AAR on Big Board Gaming, Kevin's blog. We'll see about that. But from my side, this is all for now from Offensive à Outrance in terms of video logs. I may talk about the Race to the Sea, maybe. Okay, bye!